Good morning to all. During the last class, we were discussing about metals and non-metals. Metals and non-metals. You are familiar with a number of metals in your home. Almost all the metals are, we have studied that metals are generally solids. That means that does not mean all metals are solid. We already studied that mercury is the metal which is seen in the liquid state. Similarly, we studied the physical properties of the non-metals also. While we were studying the properties about metals and non-metals, we think of a metal or we take a metal in your hand, then its property is predicted. For example, now we are discussing these copper wires. Once in this we can see say the properties of all the metallic properties, almost all the metallic properties. Melted copper is taken in a great big tank and it is thrown into thin wires. This is the property. This property of metal is known as ductility. Similarly, you have already studied about malleability. This is aluminum sheet. Metals can be changed into thin sheets. That property is known as malleability. Malleability, ductility. Then about the next, what is our property? Electrical conductivity. Malleable, ductile, which conduct electricity, and the most important properties, you know what is it? It produces sound, a ringing sound. What is this property is known as? Metals produce a ringing sound, it is known as sonorous. Sonoricity is the property of the metals. While at the same time, if we hit on a non-metal or a wood, it does not make sound. So, please remember what are the physical properties. Physical properties means the properties like the physical appearance, its color, its shape, melting point, boiling point, whether it conducts electricity or heat. These are known as physical properties. So, we already studied it in the previous class. Like we also studied the physical properties of non-metals also. When you are studying the properties of non-metals, first you take a non-metal in your hand. Then you have to predict the properties of a non-metal. The most important non-metal we can see is carbon. Carbon is in the solid form. In Malayalam it is kari. It is one form of carbon is kari. You take a piece of carbon in your hand. Yet then you have to predict the properties of the non-metal. Carbon, iodine, etc. are non-metals. The last class I said to you that in your lab there is hanging a periodic table. The periodic table, in the left, there were so many alphabets are written on it. They are the symbols of the elements. Out of 118 elements, more than 86, nearly 86 to 90 elements were metals, and the remaining are metalloids and non-metals. Now we are discussing the properties. What are the properties of non-metals? You take a piece of sulfur or a carbon. Sulfur is not available in your home. It is used in the gunpowder. Carbon, and think what are its properties. We know that when we hit the hammer, what happens? It breaks and changes into powder. At the same time, we get the if a metal is we get with the hammer, it changes into thin sheet. But what is the property of non-metal? It is brittle. Then it is found in the three forms. Non-metals are found in the solid form, either in the solid form or in the liquid state or in the gaseous state. One of the non-metal found in the gaseous state, liquid state is bromine. Bromine is a non-metal. It is found in the liquid state. Then what are the other properties? First, we are studying that they are brittle. Then second is non-luster. What is luster? This is an aluminum sheet. The aluminum piece is this property is known as thin sheet. Generally thin sheet. This property is known as malleability. At the same time, you know that it is shining. The light reflects on the surface. This shining appearance of metal is known as luster. Well, metals are luster. At the same time, you think of carbon or sulfur, whether they have any shining appearance. No, they are not shining appearance, though they are not luster. Then what are the properties? They are brittle, non-luster. They do not conduct heat and electricity. They are not malleable, not ductile. Now, we are familiar with the physical properties as well as the physical properties of the metals and the non-metals. I think you have a clear idea. Then, now we were studying about the chemical properties of metals and non-metals. Chemical properties. I already said to you that physical properties means physical appearance, its physical state, whether it conduct or whether it have a shiny appearance, whether it produces, when it is the hammer, whether it produces a hammer, it produces sound or not. Chemical properties means how it reacts with the other elements. Its chemical composition, how it participates in chemical reaction. What are the products formed? Whether these compounds are acidic or basic, how it is stored, they are the chemical properties. First, reaction with oxygen. Reaction metals, how it reacts with oxygen. For example, which metal is very familiar to you? Can you say? The metal you are very familiar to you. That is, the very familiar metal is iron. Do you know iron? It is with which we have made a number of tools in your home. Iron. If you kept the iron tool for several days in a wet place, what happened? After some days, if you take it, what happened? A rust is formed on its surface. Now I bring you an iron sheet. Yeah, I purchased this iron sheet about 2 months before from a hardware store. When I purchased the iron sheet, it was a shiny appearance, like this aluminum sheet. It has a shiny appearance. Now, yesterday, I take the iron sheet to show you in the class what happens. The iron sheet disappeared, its shiny appearance, and what happened? Its ends are like another compound is formed. What is the compound? This is known as rust. The compound formed of the iron surface is, the metal surface is known as rust. Well, what happened? What is the reaction take place? Iron, how rust is formed? iron plus oxygen plus moisture or water vapor gives iron oxide. This iron metal, when exposed to air, where there is moisture, this iron metal reacts with the oxygen present in the atmosphere, oxygen and moisture present in the atmosphere to form iron oxide. What is the chemical name of rust? In common name, rust. Chemical name, iron oxide. Iron oxide. It is also known as hydrated iron oxide. What is the hydrated? This reaction takes place only in presence of moisture or water vapor, or in presence of water. It's a, if we kept the iron in a dry place, there is no rusting take place. We already know that what we do to prevent the rusting of iron. In your home, your gate, how you prevent rusting? Today, you when you observe what the certain parts of your gate, your house gate, certain places rust is found. Where the rusting takes place, whether there is no pain. So, in order to prevent rusting, what we do? Painting. What is the principle behind it? If we paint this metal, iron does not contact with the oxygen or moisture present in there. So, it prevents rusting. So, what is the main idea behind the painting of our iron particles in our grill or windows, etc.? First, we all know that by shiny look. Now, notice the shiny look is the second important. First important is, if we don't paint the gate or grill or windows, what will happen? After several months, it undergo chemical reaction and rust is formed and finally it ruined. So, what is the, now we are studying about the reaction with the oxygen. Iron reacts with oxygen. Iron, how rust is formed? Iron reacts with oxygen and moisture or water to form iron oxide. Similarly, now there arises a question whether the iron only reacts with oxygen. No, not iron. There are several other metals like this is copper. Do you know what is copper? It's a copper sheet. Copper means gem. Malayalam is copper. What is symbol? Cu. Copper, in common name copper, by chemical name is cuprum. Cupru. So its symbol came Cu. Not CO. CO is another symbol of another metal, cobalt. This is copper. Because it is a shiny appearance. When we purchase it at the shop, it is a shiny appearance. Now it is shiny, not shiny. What will happen? What will happen? If copper also, when exposed to air, copper also reacts with the oxygen, moisture and carbon dioxide present in the air to form a greenish colored coating. This greenish colored coating is formed. This is known as verdigris. Do you know the Malayalam name of the verdigris? In common we say that clav. Copper, English it is known as verdigris. What is our main point? Not only iron, copper also, when exposed to air, it reacts with the oxygen, present in the air to form basic copper carbonate. How it became basic copper carbonate? Copper reacts with the copper plus oxygen plus carbon dioxide to form a coating on its surface that is known as a greenish coating. A greenish coating is known as verdigris. That is, copper reacts with the neutral oxygen, copper reacts with the oxygen, moisture and carbon dioxide to form basic copper carbonate, that is verdigris. So copper also, the metal copper also, when exposed to air, it reacts with the oxygen present in the atmosphere to form copper oxide. Similarly, you know that magnesium also, when exposed to air, the lower class you have studied that, study about magnesium. This is magnesium ribbon. In this magnesium also, this shiny appearance, this luster disappeared due to the coating of magnesium oxide on its surface. If we clean it with a sandpaper, it makes shiny appearance. Magnesium also, when exposed to air, it forms a coating of magnesium oxide. It takes several days to form magnesium oxide. But if we burn magnesium, you have seen our students in the painting of magnesium lower classes, magnesium burns in oxygen to form magnesium oxide. So now we have already studied about the chemical reaction of some of the metals. What's our title? Reaction with the oxygen. Metals react with oxygen. Now we studied about three metals. What are they? Iron, copper and magnesium. Iron, when exposed to air, it combines with oxygen and moisture to form iron oxide. It is commonly what we say rust. So now we have to study the chemical name of iron. Chemical name of rust. Chemical name of iron is also ferrum. The Latin name of iron is ferrum. So its symbol comes Fe. Not the symbol of iron is not I. The symbol of iron is Fe because the Latin name of iron is ferrum, so its symbol is Fe. Iron reacts with oxygen to form rust. The chemical name of rust is iron oxide. Similarly, copper. Copper also, when exposed to air, it reacts with oxygen, moisture and carbon dioxide. Here the involvement of carbon dioxide also. So basic copper carbonate is formed. It is commonly known as verdigris. Similarly, magnesium, when exposed to air, it reacts with oxygen to form magnesium oxide. Then the next thing is we have to study how it reacts with the oxides formed. The oxides formed are iron. The oxide is rust. Copper is formed is verdigris. Then magnesium. The coating complex surface is magnesium oxide. If magnesium burns in oxygen, it also produces. If magnesium burns in oxygen, it also produces magnesium oxide quickly. You have seen that. Then we have to test the properties of rust. The iron oxide formed Rust is iron oxide, verdigris is basic copper carbonate and magnesium oxide. Whether these three are rust, verdigris and magnesium oxide are acidic or basic, we have to test it. How we can test this? The rust formed is taken in a test tube and shake well with the water. The rust is almost insoluble in water, but some parts are soluble in water. Then we can test it with the blue litmus paper or red pencil. Iron oxide dissolves in water. It turns red litmus blue. That means the metallic oxides are basic in nature. Metallic oxides are basic in nature. Similarly, magnesium rubber burns in oxygen. Magnesium oxide is formed. What's reaction? 2Mg plus O2. You have to slowly study the chemical equation also. Is 2MgO. The symbol of magnesium is Mg, symbol of oxygen is O2. But this magnesium oxide is shaken well with the water. Then almost some all the magnesium oxide dissolves in water. Then we can test it. How we can test it? Test whether it is acidic or basic. The easiest way is using litmus paper. Using litmus paper, we can test whether it is acidic or basic. In all bases, the litmus turned blue. If a red litmus is dipped in the magnesium oxide solution, it changes into blue. If a red litmus is dipped in a solution of rust, it turned blue. Then what? Similarly, here red litmus is produced in the solution of verdigris or basic copper carbonate, it also turned blue. Then we have to came to conclusions. What are they? Almost all the metals react with oxygen to form its oxide. Almost all the metals react with oxygen present in the air to form its oxide. The oxide formed on iron is known as rust. It is chemically hydrated iron oxide. Similarly, the oxide formed on the surface of copper is basic copper carbonate. Commonly it is known as verdigris. Similarly, when magnesium burns in oxygen, magnesium oxide is formed. Then the second thing is, these metallic oxides are basic in nature. Metallic oxides are basic. How we can test the basicity? These metallic oxides are dissolved in water, then test with a litmus paper. All metallic oxides turned blue, red litmus paper blue. If it is acidic in nature, it turned blue litmus red. You once again please remember, litmus shows blue color in basic, red color in acidic. By noting the changing the color, we can say whether it is acidic or basic. Then once more, you note that if you have learned these things several times, you remember it. The first thing you have to remember is base. In bases, blue color. B, bases, litmus shows blue color. Then the other thing is acid, it is a red color. But one thing you remember, bases, litmus shows blue color. Then how the non-metals react with the oxygen. sulfur. When sulfur reacts with oxygen to form sulfur dioxide. I already said you that the common non-metal see in our labs are either sulfur or carbon. You take a small piece of sulfur in a deflagrating spoon, then it burns Then it began to burn, it is enter into a gas jar and close it. After the burning is complete, sulfur dioxide is formed. Then you take it with some water and test it with the litmus paper. This sulfur dioxide form is closed, taken in a gas jar and closed, then shake it with the water, H2O. What is the product formed? H2SO3. What is the, how we can say that H2SO3 is known as sulfurous acid. Sulfurous acid. Sulfur is a common non-metal. It is already found in the solid state. We already studied that non-metals are found in either solid, liquid or gaseous state. Sulfur burns in air. Air means you know that anything if it burns, there requirement of oxygen. That means burning is combining with the oxygen. Burning is combining with the oxygen. Sulfur burns in oxygen. No other elements. Without oxygen, there is no burning. So sulfur burns in oxygen form sulfur dioxide is formed. This sulfur dioxide dissolves in water. What is the product formed? H2SO3. H2SO3 is known as sulfurous acid. Then we take a blue litmus paper and dip in solution. How it changes color? We studied that litmus shows red color, or acids changes blue litmus to red. If a blue litmus is dipped in the acid solution, its color changes to red. Similarly, if we burn carbon in oxygen, what is the product formed? Carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide, when dissolved in water, it formed H2CO3. It is known as carbonic acid. Do you know what is carbonic acid? It is a familiar thing for almost all the students, or not almost all the students in summer season drink the solution at intervals. When you go to journey, when you are hungry, you go to your shop and buy soda water. Soda water is actually carbonic acid. How soda water is prepared? By dissolving carbon dioxide in water. So the chemical name of what is the chemical name of soda water? Carbonic acid. That is why when we open the soda bottle of the soda bottle, what happened? We have seen a quick appearance of a gas. Which gas is evolving from the soda water? Carbon dioxide gas. Now, carbon dioxide is dissolved in the water at high pressure, and it is closed with it is tightly closed. When you open the bottle, the pressure decreases and the carbon dioxide dissolves into much is evolved as CO2 gas. We can see that it is formed in the bubbles on the liquid. So this is a very good thing. Now, what is our duty? Whenever you get a litmus paper, you have to test it whether it is an acid or base. Acids are, when a blue litmus paper is dipped with the carbonic acid or soda water, what happens? The blue litmus changes to red. What does it shows? Soda water is acidic in nature. Soda water is acidic in nature. Then we can reach a general conclusion. What is the general conclusion? All non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature. For example, carbon dioxide. It dissolves in water. It produces carbonic acid. It's a very weak acid. Don't hear that. Oh, I drank several times. It's a acid. What happened to us? No, soda water is a weak acid. Similarly, vinegary, it is also a weak acid. It is not doing any harm to our stomach. It's a weak acid. So, though it is a weak acid, it also changes blue litmus paper red. Then we reach two conclusions. Metallic oxides are basic in nature and it turns red litmus paper blue. Non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature and it turns blue litmus red. Then you don't confuse it with the color change. We convey one thing, base blue color. Then base, in bases litmus shows blue color, base blue. Then the other thing is acid red. The first is the beginning and the second. Then you can fix that how we can identify these substances. Then came to the next property, reaction with water. Almost all the metals does not react with water. You know that we are boiling water in iron tanks. In our home, we cook rice in aluminium vessels. There is no change, no reaction takes place. No reaction takes place. Aluminium metal and aluminium metal and water. If we are for cooking rice, we have to heat it for 1.5 hour in our homes. Then what, there is no change. The water boils and rice also cook. Not almost all the metals does not react with the water. But at the same time, we have seen that the magnesium, this magnesium metal won't react with the boiling water to form magnesium hydroxide and hydrogen. Similarly, iron does not react with the ordinary water or the boiling water, but iron, this is you have slowly heard it. And at the same time, iron reacts with the steam to produce hydrogen. But there is some metals. We have only, while we were studying the properties of, while we were studying the general properties of the metals, I told you that there are some metals which shows exception to these properties. Do you know what are they? One I tell you now, all metals are, generally all metals are solid, but only one metal is liquid, that is mercury. Where mercury is used, it is used in thermometer. You know what is thermometer? It is used to measure temperature of your body while you are in fever. When you went to hospital, first, nowadays, when the COVID-19 broke out, there were no use of thermometer. There was another instrument there is using. Before, about 6 months before, when you go to hospital for fever, your temperature is taken by a thermometer. Inside thermometer, there is a liquid metal, mercury is used. Then the second we have studied that all the metals are hard and high density. But some metals, they are not so hard. Do you know what? Can you say what are the soft metals? Can you say that two soft metals are sodium and potassium? Sodium and potassium. Sodium and potassium are soft metals. I already told you that sodium and potassium, we can cut the metal with the knife. They are soft metals. Then this sodium is highly reactive. It reacts with water to produce sodium hydroxide and hydrogen. Sodium, it reacts with the water to produce sodium hydroxide and hydrogen. It is not only react with the water present taken at test tube, it also reacts with the moisture present there. So, how it is stored, how it is kept, the sodium metal is kept in kerosene. The sodium metal is kept in kerosene. This is the sodium metal. You can see the pieces of sodium metal. This sodium metal is kept in kerosene. Why? It is highly reactive. It reacts with the water and moisture present in the air. So it cannot be kept in bottles. So it is kept in kerosene. Then you must know the reason. Two reasons where the sodium potassium are kept in. Sodium and potassium are kept in kerosene. Why? It reacts with water and moisture present in the air. So it cannot kept in the open space or in water. It is highly reactive. It burns in water. When it is kept in contact with water, it burns. It produces hydrogen. Similarly, potassium also. So, reaction done. Here comes the question. Name the metal which reacts with the cold water. Even it is cold water, but also sodium reacts with it. Then the second question. When sodium reacts with water, which gas is evolved? So when sodium reacts with water, hydrogen is evolved. We can test with the burns with the producer pop sound. This is the test for hydrogen. Similarly, the reaction with the metals, non-metals also. Non-metals, you already know that in the atmosphere there is oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen, and other elements. They are also non-metals. Similarly, carbon, sulfur, iodine, and inert gases, they are also non-metals. They are not generally reactive. The non-metals are also very inactive, not very active, and they does not come in with the other elements. But there is a one non-metal which is highly reactive. Do you know that non-metal? Phosphorus. Phosphorus is highly reactive. Its melting point is about at room temperature. When it opens, it burns to form phosphorus, the oxides of phosphorus. So, phosphorus is kept under water. Phosphorus is a very reactive non-metal. Very reactive non-metal. When it opens, its burning point is very low at room temperature. If we expose air, it burns in air to produce its oxide. So, phosphorus is kept underwater. Why? To lower the temperature. At room temperature means we already know that in summer season, our atmospheric temperature rises to up to 37 degrees centigrade. Phosphorus burns around 30 degrees. So, if we kept phosphorus in normal bottles, what will happen? At noon, what happens? It burns and the bottles also breaks. So, to lower the temperature, where phosphorus is kept? Phosphorus is kept in water to lower the temperature. That is safe, or otherwise it may happen to burn and oxides are formed and cause damages to the surroundings. So this is the reaction with the water. So in this today, we have the next day we have studying about reaction with the acids. Metals also react with the acids. So today you have to begin to learn the chemical properties of metal. The last class I given to you an assignment. Write the physical properties of metals as well as the physical properties of non-metals. Today we will discuss about the chemical properties of the metals and the chemical properties of the non-metals. The most important two things is the soft metal, sodium and potassium, where it is kept. Sodium and potassium are kept in kerosene. Why? It is highly reactive. It reacts with the water and moisture, so it is kept in kerosene. At the same time, phosphorus is a very reactive non-metal, where it is kept at room temperature. It burns, so it is to lower the temperature. We kept phosphorus in water. Okay, we can see you the next class. Next class you can see the reaction between metals and acids. Today you have to read the lessons and try the exceptional qualities, properties of the metals and how to identify metallic oxides and non-metallic oxides. Okay, thank you.